There was once a farmer who had been digging the same well for 30 years. Every morning before sunrise, he descended into that hole with his tools. Every evening he climbed out exhausted, empty-handed, and covered in dirt. His hands were ruined, his back was bent. His family waited at the table for water that never came. The village people had stopped watching long ago. They knew the story. Thomas digs. Thomas finds nothing. Thomas digs again. But Thomas kept going, because stopping felt like admitting he had wasted his life. One afternoon, an old traveler passed through the village. He was carrying nothing, no bag, no tools, just walking slowly with a quiet face, the kind of face that is seen enough to stop being afraid of anything. He stopped beside Thomas's well. He looked down into the hole. Then he looked at Thomas. "How long have you been digging this well?" he asked. Thomas wiped the sweat from his face. 30 years. The traveler was quiet for a moment. Then he asked something no one had ever asked before. "Are you digging because you believe water is here? Or because you're afraid to start somewhere else?" Thomas opened his mouth to answer, but no words came out, because he did not know. That question stayed inside him all night. He could not sleep. He kept turning it over in his mind the way you turn a stone in your hand, feeling its weight. Am I digging because I believe? Or because I am afraid? He thought about his father who had dug in the same spot before him. He thought about the 30 years of mornings, the blisters, the empty buckets. He thought about his wife, who had stopped asking when things would change. His son, who watched him leave before dawn and return after dark, day after day, year after year. He was teaching his son something. He just did not know what. The next morning, Thomas found the traveler sitting under a tree at the edge of the village. "I thought about your question all night," Thomas said. "I do not know the answer." The traveler nodded slowly. "That is the most honest thing a man can say." He gestured for Thomas to sit beside him. "Let me tell you what I've seen in my travels," the old man said. "I have met hundreds of men like you, hard workers, good men, men who dig every single day. And most of them die in the same hole they were born into, not because they were lazy, but because of one single mistake." Thomas leaned forward. "They confused movement with progress." The words hit Thomas like cold water. "You have been moving every day for 30 years, the traveler continued, descending, ascending, digging, lifting. Your body is proof of your effort, but effort pointed in the wrong direction is not progress. It is just a deeper hole." Thomas stared at the ground. "So what do I do?" he asked quietly. "I am 52 years old. I have no other skills, no education. Everything I know is in that well." The traveler looked at him. "Everything you know is not in that well. Everything you fear is." He stood and picked up a small stone from the path. "When I was young," he said, "I carried a stone like this in my pocket everywhere I went. Every day I added another stone. I told myself these stones were proof of my journey. After 10 years, I could not walk. The weight had become my prison, and I called it my identity." He set the stone down gently on the ground. "The day I put them down was the day I began to move." Thomas looked at the abandoned well, at the ropes, at the bucket, at the hole in the earth that had swallowed 30 years of his life. For the first time, he did not see dedication. He saw fear wearing the mask of discipline. He stood up slowly. He walked to the well, looked down one last time, and then turned away. He went home and sat across from his son at the kitchen table. "Tomorrow," he said, I am going to walk to the eastern fields. There is a stream there. I have seen it my whole life and never stopped to look closely. I think there is something there worth finding." His son looked at him with wide eyes. "But what about the well?" Thomas was quiet for a moment. "The well will be there," he said, "but we will not." The next morning, Thomas rose before the sun as always. 30 years of habit had made that part easy, but this time he did not go down. He went forward. He found the stream. He spent 2 weeks studying it, learning its patterns, where it slowed, where it deepened, where the ground drank it in. Then he dug, not from fear, not from habit, but from knowledge. On the 17th day, the water came, clean, cold, more than he had ever found before. The village came to see. They called it luck. They called it miracle. Thomas just smiled because he knew the truth. The water had always been somewhere. He had just been too afraid of the wrong hole to go looking. My friend, how many years have you spent digging in the same place? Not because you believe something is there, but because leaving would mean admitting the time already spent. This is the trap most people live inside their entire lives. They call it commitment. They call it loyalty. But deep down, they know the truth. The bravest thing you can ever do is stop, look up, and ask yourself, am I here because this is right or because I'm afraid of somewhere new? Your water is out there, but you have to be willing to leave the hole. If this story made you think, share it with someone still digging in the wrong place, and subscribe, because every week there is a story here waiting to change how you see your life.